This afternoon, JiuJitsuMania has the privilege of sitting down with one of the founders of American Top Team, Ricardo Liborio.
Hey guys.
Ricardo, please tell us how you got your beginning in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and tell us about the development of ATT and what's going on with your endeavors now.
Well, my life in martial arts was started with 4 years old. I passed through starting judo, definitely. I mean, in Brazil, the majority of guys started judo as a background. Now things changed a lot. That was not very popularized there at the time. Jiu-Jitsu was just a small rub, it was a small bubble there in the south zone of Rio de Janeiro. That's where I'm coming from. And I started judo. That was very popular, especially on young kids. From there, I learned some taekwondo, I did some boxing, and 14 years old, I was dating my first girlfriend, and her uncle introduced me to jiu-jitsu. He was a black belt from Carlson Gracie. He said, man, you gotta come, you gotta try this, you gotta try jiu-jitsu, it's cool. You're gonna meet Carlson Gracie, this is gonna be great. I said, okay, I'll go. So I went there. That was love at first sight. I love that. I started practicing like every day, hours a day. That started being my life. So since there, I'm 45 right now. I'm almost 31 years now, and I just gotta say, BJJ is my life. It's my lifestyle. That's the sport. That's what it brings bread to the table. That's everything. BJJ is everything for me.
So how have you seen BJJ change over the last 30 years?
Oh, it changed a lot. The level of competitive, number of tournaments, the grappling, the growing MMA who brought jiu-jitsu in a scenario, and spread around the world, the necessity to learn jiu-jitsu to be even a better MMA fighter, everybody knows, everybody looks for. You can find striking everywhere. You can find takedowns from judo and wrestling everywhere, but it's hard to find a martial arts that really brings it up what a BJJ brings. So it's a very important component for mixed martial arts. And with this mixed martial arts boom, that definitely there is a necessity to spread BJJ around the world, and that's why I think it's so important, so hot right now. But in competitions, like I say, develops so much. This thing is so developed, it's evolved so much, and it's so hard to see it, how those kids can do it right now, and I think that some things can be changed in terms of rules to be more even attractive to television, to be more fast-paced. It's still 10 minutes, since my time was 10 minutes before, and for black belts. I think a couple of changes here and there will be turning jiu-jitsu more attractive to television, and it will be amazing if you can wire this thing on TV or internet and everybody's watching.
So tell us about American Top Team and how that all got started. One of the most successful fight teams on the planet right now.
ATT started, I was training Minotauro at the time when he fought Coleman, and I flew to Japan, and at the time I wanted to learn more English. My problem is learn English. There's just one person there doing our management, and I say, no, man, I got to learn more English so we can communicate. And the MMA was in the beginning, but Japan was pretty hot at the time, and the English definitely always was an essential language for everybody. You can communicate with everybody through English. From there, I say, I'm going to take 6 months off. I'm going to really, go to a place that I can learn. I got an offer to go to Japan and start and training a team over there. I was Brazilian Top Team at the time, and I was decided to go there to learn English. But immediately after Minotauro fought Coleman, Murilo Bustamante fought Chuck Liddell. That's when I met Dan Lambert over there, and from Dan Lambert, Dustin Dennis introduced me to him, and from there, he said, man, don't go to Japan, it's coming over here. And I met my partners there, and from there, from their story, the American Top Team was created. And I moved here. When I moved here, 2 months afterwards, I said, man, that's the place I'm going to stay. So I got married, American woman, American kids, and everything else. Now I'm here in the United States.
If you had to pick the premier jiu-jitsu fighter right now in MMA, who do you identify that person to be?
best BJJ for MMA, my opinion, I can say is Damian Maia. You know, he really transitioned very, very well for MMA, and he is able to use all the tools for MMA. There's a lot of great BJJ fighters out there, you know, that, you know, adapt it in many ways. Got to understand that. Just BJJ for MMA, you got to learn other things. And BJJ itself, it's, you know, you gotta transition to the MMA BJJ. You know, there's a lot of grips, and it's not easy when you start getting punched in the face, elbowed in the face. Everything changed. You gotta be aware of what's going on. You gotta be training for it. So there is some modifications you have to do. And besides that, you know, you can be very effective, but you can't forget that you're competing in entertainment. You're competing in the show that, you know, is a demand to be excited. So the efficiency jiu-jitsu got to be spread out and in speed, and also you gotta add some of the striking in the top or in the bottom. You know, whatever it is, you gotta be all in constant move. So I believe that Damian Maia, in my opinion, is the most efficient.
Give us your advice now for people who are white belts, green belts, blue belts. What's the most important thing to focus on? There's so much information out there now, so many YouTube techniques that people get lost in. You know, people are getting confused about developing a game sometimes. So what's your best advice for people who are just starting out or even have a year and a half on the mat?
Stick with the basics. Very important to know that. And I can't go there all day long. You can't build a house starting with the roof. You gotta start with the foundation. You see a lot of very, very neat, cool stuff that people are doing right there, and it's very easy. Access the information through YouTube and the internet is very common. You should be self-learning. You should be researching always. If you don't have the basics, you really don't. If you don't know how to keep somebody on the ground. There's a lot about positioning. There's a lot about grips. There's a lot about things that it's not necessarily a specific position or a submission, but come on, you gotta know that. You gotta have to know that. From that, you step forward what is more advanced. So if we started right now, stick with a good structure. It's gonna be showing you what is the basic first, and after that, start picking here and there. When you have a fundamental game, you start choosing and do what you gotta do, you know, and developing. And also, do never keep your mind closed. The best student is the best, you know, the best instructors are the best students. The best students are the ones that have the open mind to learn from everybody. You know, I learn every day from a lot of different people, you know, even from white belts. So, you know, there's a guy who trains at night and come and go to sleep and dream of a position, and he shows it the next day. He said, man, this may work, you know. Things like that is very important. Just keep your open mind and always open to learn.
Well, Ricardo, thank you so much. It's been a privilege for JiuJitsuMania to spend some time with you this afternoon. Thank you, and best of luck and continued success to American Top Team.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.